What's going on, y'all? This is Greg. Greg said it. Nighttime edition, like the nighttime buffs. Y'all, I just wanted to stop by and talk about something that's somewhat been on my mind. You know, I'm one of those guys who always talk about Colorado, some of the things that we could have done better. I say we, supporting Colorado Buffaloes, and some of the things that I would say for the best, with the best intention for the Colorado Buffaloes to be what they can be. Is that something that they haven't heard before? Is that not what the coaches wanted? That's never been said. But I think one of the things that we're seeing is the narrative that's always played against Colorado. And that's one of the things that made me support Colorado, because they're not perfect, but they don't get the credit that they should. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of different factors. We call it hate, jealousy. And a lot of times when things don't go the right way, it's used to justify certain things. And one of those things that I've always seen, you know, I had a conversation the other day about names, and it was brought up, you know, about how names can help people. Like, why do I have a great name for, you know, my family to stand on? Like, you see some of the people who are rich and wealthy, how their children benefit from that. And it's like, you have to build an inheritance from your children. And Shedeur was brought up, and I was like, nah, I don't quite work that way for Shedeur Sanders, and even Shiloh, because I don't think they never really got the full credit that they deserve as athletes. I think they always had to live up to what their dad done, or they just caught some of the backlash of people who didn't like their dad for whatever reason. And there's many reasons people come up with. And I noticed that Shedeur, as good as he was growing up, he always had to fight against that. He always had to be the guy, you just there because your dad. You just got your dad name. They had to fight off of that from the beginning. Even from a skill level, you're not as fast as your dad. Nobody got their dad speed, all of that. You take a lot of shots that you probably wouldn't normally take as a regular person. And probably no problem in it. He wouldn't. The things that said about him are unique to him being Deion Sanders' son. And we've seen that when he came out of high school, he didn't even get the credit from like the stars that he should get, the 5 stars or whatever. All of the scholarships he had, people always downplayed him. And when he chose those lower level schools, that didn't help him, because they say, see, you can't perform at the next level. So then you see his dad make a critical move when he brought not just Travis, but him and other players from Jackson State, his Shiloh, even though Shiloh had already played at South Carolina, to prove, in a lot of ways, that was one of the reasons, I believe, to prove that Shedeur can do it at that level. Because all they're going to do is minimize, oh, you just did that at HBCU, or oh, you only did that at FCS level. And he immediately came out producing, and he was one of the top guys. But he always went against the backlash and the criticism that he's not as good as other quarterbacks, even when his numbers proved it, both years. And then you get down to the Heisman race, and it's like, well, his numbers is compatible, but he's not good enough to be there. Now you have this narrative out, he's not a first rounder. Now, they've been saying that since before the season. They were trying to find every reason to go against him. They found the reasons to say, oh, his daddy made everybody go to the concert. He's not a leader. He's this, he's that. It was a lot of personal stuff, really. And they used everything against him. He just want to rap. He just want everything that they could say, you know, from media, social media, people who just really just had nothing but negativity towards him. And now this theory, it's not new to me. They say that Shedeur, a lot of scouts are saying Shedeur cannot be a first-round draft pick. I find that very interesting, because that's all they've been calling him, really since HBCU, as far as what he could do, his skills. And then when he got to Colorado, it was that. His junior year, going to his senior year, all conference. They didn't give him the All-American honors. We noticed that from the beginning, but he's been first team all-conference quarterback. And I don't think he fully got all the accolades. He got the Golden Arm Award, which is great. He didn't get the looks for the Heisman, which we've been talking about for 2 years. They've been doing everything they can to minimize that. Everything he do, he's not getting the Heisman. Now, if you look at somebody like me, I've always talked about Shedeur, one of the best for him. Like, seeing what they're doing Give them all you got. Don't get complacent. Don't be nonchalant. Step on their neck because they don't want to give you respect. If you leave it borderline, if you leave it so-so, they're going to take advantage of it. They're going to use it against you. So my whole thing with Shedeur is go out there and just blow them away. Play your best. Don't half do it because you can cruise through the finish line and beat a lot of people. I wanted him to really, really see that because they wouldn't be able to use against him if he had really did his full potential as far as the numbers is concerned. He wouldn't have threw as many interceptions if he was as locked in, challenged. He would have put up more touchdowns, more yards to further put away that he's not good enough. He left a lot of meat on the bone, and he still was one of the best quarterbacks in the country. To the point where I felt like he's bored now. Let him just go head on. You know, he's not being challenged. Now, he was challenged when it comes to the sacks and things like that. But I believe his skill set is pretty high for a college quarterback. And sometimes it, to me, came off as boredom. I don't like the narrative. I think it's weird. I think it's like somebody who's been putting out a narrative the whole time. It's nothing he's necessarily done to deserve it because they've been saying it the whole time. They doubt it anyway. They wasn't waiting on this season. Matter of fact, this season only would work against them, which it did in a lot of ways because they were a better team. Oh, they're just going to win 4 games. They'd be lucky to win that. And all those narratives and goalposts kept moving. And the same with him. I think he did very well. I think he did better than what the hater would want him to do to be able to use this narrative. But still, they're trying to use it against him. And it's just interesting because if you look at this QB class, I think the last year class was more competitive, and he was considered a top QB last year from what was said, from what the scouts were saying. All right. Now you come into a less challenging, less competitive class, and you're going to say he's still not a first-round guy. Or he's definitely not a first-round guy this year. It gets really weird. And it's good that he's leaving college football and away from his dad. That could help some, but then the NFL is a whole nother animal because of the pressure when you're getting paid and that fan base. And when you go to a team that's, well, he would more likely be going as a top 3 pick, first few choices, it's going to be the teams that struggle. And when the team struggles, they struggle for a reason, typically because they didn't have a quarterback. Because you have a good quarterback, you're going to do better than 2 or 3 games or 1 game win. But you also got to look at the fact that the defense may be a challenge. So a lot of the same issues that he had, it can be seen as a positive. Where he turned this season around from last year, he can do it. He's shown that he can do that with subpar teams and subpar lines. But is that really beneficial to him? I don't know, especially at that level. You know, to be that kind of, have that kind of pressure on you to turn the team around without the pieces. Hopefully he go to a place that's going to build around him. Hopefully he's not stuck in a situation where a lot of good college quarterbacks go into, and when they're in the 1st and 2nd and 3rd pick, and they go to a program just this career eater. And it's like nobody does well at that place. They have a stagnant first few years until they can get traded. I don't wish that for him because you already got enough haters, enough doubters, enough naysayers that want to see him fail, that want to say, see, he's not that good. He's never that good. It was his daddy. His daddy this, daddy that. Daddy can't protect him. They just want to taunt. They want to pick on him. And I don't think that's a fair situation if he ends up in that. But hopefully he ends up in the right situation where he could possibly build a program. I know when Cam Newton went to Carolina, they had some pretty good years with him there. And I feel like Carolina has been a stable program for a lot of years now in the NFC South. And they had good defenses and things like that. So they had some stuff to work with. So I hope he gets something that he can really work with. They just need a quarterback, and that'll make the difference. Because I want to see him prove people wrong. I think he's off to a good start, but of course that goalpost has been moved to the NFL now. So we don't need him to be a bust. They already, oh, well, you're going to be a bust there. We're going to be a bust there. Hopefully he can continue to prove him wrong. And I look forward to seeing that progress from him. But I'm just Greg. Greg said it. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. And I'll be talking to y'all soon.